Hello, hello. Okay, there we go. All right, good morning and welcome to the last meeting of the Joint Railroad Committee for 2023. I suspect it was the last meeting was the last meeting for most board members since we don't have a quorum. There's only a couple of us here, so we will take no votes. I want to thank Mr. Mack for joining in from points unknown. David. I am not the chair, but I'm in a chair, so with that responsibility, can we have this morning's speakers, please?
Good morning. My name is Andrew Buter. I'm Director of Government and Community Relations for Metro North Railroad. Our first public speaker this morning is Murray Bowden. Speakers have 2 minutes to speak. At that time, we will ask all speakers to yield to allow time for all of our speakers to speak. We will alternate between in-person as well as those who are joining us remotely. Once again, our first speaker is Murray Bowden. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Actually, I couldn't hear a word you said. I tend to read lips, and it helps a lot. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I learned from the MTA. Nothing works like in-person, face-to-face across the table. Come to the office, and that's how work gets done. Okay, I learned. Kathy, Rob, I need to meet with your team to discuss various issues that maybe we can have some direction to solve them in. So after the first of the year, if you will set up a meeting with your team in your office, or Kathy in your office, we'll go over issues that I can point you in a direction. If I'm right, you'll continue. If not, we've had a discussion. But you're absolutely right. Come to the office, face-to-face is where the work gets done. And you all should have a very positive new year. We had a family gathering yesterday, 15 of us. It was wonderful. So I wish you all a very enjoyable and productive next year. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Ian Matthews, followed by Jason Anthony.
Wait, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. All right. Good morning. This was very unexpected. So I'm here to speak about the need for more trains on the Harlem and New Haven on the New Haven line, because over the weekend I noticed the trains were very crowded because there weren't enough trains, because there like people standing in the aisles because we didn't have any extra shoppers trains that we had prior to the pandemic, and I feel that should be brought back. And I'm noticing during the winter vacation that there aren't any either, and I feel there should be more added because a lot of shoppers are going back into the city. And like last year, we had really crowded trains with people standing in the aisles. And yeah. All right, that's it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jason Anthony, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning, Kathy, and good morning, Rob. Jason Anthony here in the last committee meetings of 2023. What do I want on my wish list for 2024? On the Long Island Railroad side, we will want more service to and from Brooklyn to Long Island, especially to the walkways, to Hempstead. That could take the Long Island Railroad a one-seat ride from Brooklyn all the way to Mineola. On the Metro North side of things, let's do a little bit of fact-checking here because someone said shortness on service. That is totally incorrect. Kathy, I wish that we will have finally activated the combo ticket that we could ride both systems with a single ticket, not two tickets like we have currently. But not but least, the bathrooms at Penn Station look a disaster. We need those bathrooms at Penn Station clean more often, because I've been there recently, and I could say that it's very disgusting what I see. I could go there on the weekday, I could go there on the weekend, and it's the same condition. Let's see if we could get something done for 2024. And with that, I'll yield the rest of my time. I'll see you guys in transit.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Charlton D'Souza, followed by Kara Girl.
Good morning, Charlton D'Souza, President of Passengers United. How come we don't have more service at Mineola on the weekends? Mineola has been crowded. There's been huge crowds over there. So you need more weekend service on the main line. And you shouldn't have trains bypassing Mineola. That makes no sense. In terms of other things with the railroads, you need more service going to Brooklyn. And that's what a lot of people are complaining about in the new schedules, and rightfully so, because you shouldn't have to get off at Jamaica, walk all the way down that corridor, and then trip down those stairs. It's ridiculous. Come on. You guys have had so many months to fix this, and you need more trains running there. And also, we need the weekly Atlantic ticket or the weekly city ticket back, because Long Island Railroad ridership is dipping in Queens because of that. And, a lot of people don't want to pay an additional $5 only to pay an additional $2.90. It makes no sense. So we need the weekly ticket back. We need a city ticket combo as well. That should be, between LIRR and Metro North. And the railroad president, he's got to come out, visit Hollis. When is Hollis getting redone? I saw a picture of it at the Capital Programs meeting about 2 weeks ago, and that was it. So we need to see that. We need progress. And if you're going to have congestion pricing, which we're all opposed to, you need to match the service, in these communities that really depend on the Long Island Railroad. It's about equity, and it's about getting people to where they need to go faster. And we look forward to meeting with the new LIR president, Rob Free, and the team. Anyway, guys, have a happy holidays. Thank you from all of us at Passengers United.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Kara Girl, followed by Andy Pollock.
Good morning. I'm Kara Girl, Planning and Advocacy Manager at the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA PCAC. A year ago, we were eagerly waiting to learn when Grand Central Madison would finally open. Today, we're glad to see ongoing schedule tweaks and adjustments to smooth out some of the bumps in the road since the new service began, and thank you for continuing to listen to riders. Unfortunately, there is still work to be done so that Long Island Railroad riders can fully rely on transit to get them where they need to go on time. We've seen that on-time performance has been down over the last few months, which is particularly problematic without timed connections. Transfer opportunities can quickly turn into a missed train when connections aren't held, even when an incoming train was delayed. Few things are worse than pulling into Jamaica as your connecting train home pulls out, especially when the next one can be an hour or more away. Please reinstate timed connections. Up north, we're glad to see that New York State DOT is funding a grant to improve connectivity to Metro North stations. And with Beeline buses fare-free through the new year, first and last mile options to get riders to and from trains are improving. These local transit options will get drivers out of cars and onto transit. On both railroads, commutation ridership with weekly and monthly tickets has plummeted post-pandemic, while non-commutation ticket purchases have soared. Commuting patterns have changed, and that means that riders need more ticket options with greater flexibility. With the elimination of the 20-trip ticket this summer, there currently is no peak per-trip ticket sold at a discount. PCAC has proposed developing a discounted 10-trip peak ticket to replace that loss while being responsive to the direction that riders are headed in. As we gear up for congestion pricing, it's particularly important to offer innovative and affordable fares. That should include a weekly city ticket with transfers to subways and buses, fair fares on the commuter railroads, and extending the senior and disability reduced fare to include the morning peak. Now is the time to get riders excited about transit before congestion pricing begins. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Andy Pollock, followed by Christopher Greif.
Good morning, Neil. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Rob. Andy Pollock for the record, Passengers United. So a couple things to wrap up 2023. Number one, Kathy, thank you for addressing the toilet situation at Grand Central. I made a complaint about that a couple of weeks ago, and thankfully, when I was back there on December 5th, I noticed the toilets were in fact flushing in the men's room. However, on the Long Island Railroad side of things in Grand Central Madison, one of the stalls has a missing lock. So that needs to be looked into immediately because it's been like that now for the past couple of months. And Grand Central Madison's only been open for what, almost a year, and we're already having missing locks in the bathroom. And also for Kathy, there's still no dining chairs in the dining room in Grand Central, so please get that addressed. Now, as far as schedule changes are concerned on January 22nd, to Rob, thank you for adding that train that's going to be leaving at 6:39 p.m. from Atlantic Terminal to Hempstead, because Hempstead branch commuters have been complaining now for a whole year. They only get one train direct from Atlantic in the peak. So this is going to be a big addition to their commutes beginning on January 22nd. And lastly, regarding the schedules, on New Year's Eve, I'm requesting the Long Island Railroad Ronkonkoma branch stop at the Mineola station westbound because we have Billy Joel performing at UBS Arena that Sunday night. So with that, to everybody, Passengers United would like to wish everybody at Metro North and the Long Island Railroad a very happy holiday season, a very happy new year, and we look forward to working with you in 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Christopher Greif, followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christopher D. Greif. As an advocate, and as we are getting the end of the year, and we have gotten some areas accomplished, but we still need to continue building up more accessible stations, more accessibility devices, not just for wheelchairs and walkers, but for blind or deaf community. We need to make sure that in the near future that, as my colleagues have already been saying, that reduced fare is important to make sure that information is out there, not just in the Nassau and Suffolk or upstate New York, but in the city. We need to make sure that they have optionals to transfer from the railroad to the subway to the bus and easier access. We just need to keep continuing working on that. I do want to thank the MTA police chief and thank you for letting them be out there and during the holiday train. But again, we still need you because we still need them the next 2 weeks because we don't want to see any kids, doesn't matter if they're on the railroads or anywhere, on top of a train. We want to be safe. We want to teach the history and to be safe on the subway. As you know, ridership is gone high as ever. And yes, I do travel on the Metro North branch on the New Haven, and I have to say it's glad to see everyone going on the train, going maybe up or down to have a great time, to enjoy the holiday times, spend time with friends and family, and try to keep the peace. So all I'm saying is to everyone, happy, healthy holiday, and let's continue working on more accessibility for the 2024. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Iris Kelly.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Neil Zuckerman. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. Good to be back with you. Getting into the holiday season. You know, I love a good public meeting, and you can never have enough Grand Central Terminal. So I'm looking forward to hearing about ridership. I think I saw in the report that we have a bit of a dip, but I think we're getting around 75% pre-COVID. That's very good work. We want to get more people on the bus, on the trains, and the buses too, to take buses to the trains, because I actually did that. I think back to my time in New York that I experienced several instances of wonderful welcome in Grand Central Terminal and Grand Central Madison, and the Moynihan Hall of Penn Station, from people who I will not name. But those are wonderful experiences that I got to have in New York City, and I am very grateful for that. How do we build the best railroads we can? I think the work is progressing. I use the Train Time app. It works. I buy whatever tickets I need. Sometimes I use more than one system in a day. I ride New Jersey Transit and use their MyTix in the morning. and then I get on Metro North or Long Island later in the day and use train time. So I do what I need to do. I hope to see you in person soon. I'm 2,500 miles away, but I do what I can do. And I thank you for making the Zoom available, that from anywhere in the world I can engage with you, because the constituency of MTA commuter rail is indeed worldwide. And I thank you and wish you a good holiday season. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Iris Kelly, followed by Cameron Best.
I don't like the way they have done things for Jamaica Station for the connection for trains and from Atlantic. We should not have to change trains in Atlantic every time. We always had our own trains from Long Island come from Brooklyn. Then also from the Jamaica Station itself. Why did you move all your trains from track 3 to track 11 and 12? It don't make any sense at all to me. Then in general, you had a digital sign between 6 and 7 showing the train times. That was perfect for people who could not see high up and were legally blind. But no, you took that away in February just because Grand Central come along and leave both your signs, 11 and 12 and 6 and 7, to be all advertisement of your company. You don't need both. And it's really been a disgrace, you know, how it makes it hard for people making connections. And it was great when it had the connection between track 2 and 3, between Brooklyn and Long Island, coming home in the nighttime. No, you change the tracks around. Whereas on track 4, you get up in 11, 12. It's a disgrace. That's not right. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our final speaker will be Cameron Best.
Hello. Overall, I've been disappointed by the new M9 rail cars. They don't really take any advantage of new FRA regulations that allow for newer, lighter rail cars with faster acceleration, significantly reducing travel times. Modern European EMUs can accelerate twice as fast as an M7 or M9, and on the LIRR, where there's some relatively close stop spacing, this can work out to some big time savings over the entire route. I get that the M9 orders have been placed, but overall the LIRR should consider buying some truly modern EMUs as well once the M9 orders have been finished. There's some other benefits to modern EMUs as well that we also missed out on the M9. Better seats, faster doors, better passenger information displays, and perhaps most important of all, a train that truly looks and feels modern. Designs also already exist. Stadler Flirts, Siemens DeZero, Bombardier Aventura, all been used successfully in other parts of the world. Some of them have also been used domestically. Caltrain and Texrail have already gotten Stadler Flirts. Another minor thing, I saw on Twitter that the M8s had its 120 volt outlets switched out for USB type A ports. USB A ports break, and you can't charge a laptop on a USB A port. If this change was made for safety reasons, to prevent people from charging e-bikes, other solutions should be investigated first. Or if not, if this isn't possible, at least put USB-C ports on it so you can charge a laptop on it as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. That concludes our public speakers for this morning.
Great, thanks very much. I do want to say now that he is with us, at least virtually. Our chair of Long Island Railroad, Mr. Sammy Chu, is not here, not because he's off celebrating the island somewhere, but he is celebrating out in Long Island with County Executive Bellone receiving the Suffolk County Public Service Award. And I think that deserves a little bit of an applause from our fellow board members who are talking. But gentlemen, I don't know if you heard the good news. Sammy just won the Suffolk County Public Service Award. So that's why he's not with us today. And so we're very happy for you, Sammy, and look forward to seeing the pictures and the reports in Newsday about your award. Okay. Oh, and Blanc is right here, just in time. All right. Do you want me to keep going, or you want to take over? Go right ahead. Okay. Well, why don't we just change the work plan, please?
There are no changes to the work plan.
Okay. Rob?
No changes.
Okay, excellent. Minutes from last month. Well, we don't have a quorum anyway, so we will just do that next month. Yeah, no, I got it. I can count. We don't have a quorum. There's definitely no quorum here. Okay, great. Kathy, the floor is yours. Please give us your report.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Thank you, Blanca. November's total ridership of almost 5,340,000 represented a slight but predictable dip from October, given the Thanksgiving holiday. We rebounded nicely in early December, and the combination of nice weather, holiday activities, and SantaCon combined to give us a new post-COVID Saturday ridership mark of 147,745 on December 9th. Nasty weather the following day, unfortunately, put a crimp in a lot of people's holiday plans, but we're hoping for much clearer skies after today and better weather so that people can come into New York and enjoy everything that New York has to offer for the holidays. Metro North, of course, wants to be your ticket home for the holidays, and we'll have some holiday schedule adjustments on tap again this year. On Friday, December 22nd, there will be some normal weekday service with some adjustments on the Pascack Valley line and Port Jervis lines, a normal Sunday schedule on Christmas Eve, and since Christmas Day typically has the lowest ridership of any of holidays, we will operate a special schedule on Christmas Day with hourly service on the Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines and lengthier intervals on our branch lines. Historically, commuter ridership decreases in the week between Christmas and New Year's. However, there is an increase in discretionary ridership and a shift in the periods of demand. So from Tuesday the 26th through Friday the 29th, we will be reallocating a select number of morning rush hour trains to the late morning, and we will be adjusting train lengths. We'll operate a regular Sunday schedule on New Year's Eve with extra post-midnight and early morning service on the Hudson, Harlem, and New Haven lines for those who remained in Times Square through the ball drop. Pascack Valley and Port Jervis lines will also have extra service after midnight, and as in previous years, customers heading home from Grand Central in the early morning hours of New Year's will have their tickets collected prior to boarding. New Year's Day service will run off the same special schedule as Christmas Day, and we urge all those who are traveling with us between the 22nd and the 1st of the year to check schedules for your line on either our website or on the Train Time app before heading out. A few Saturdays ago at our North White Plains offices, we held our third and final job fair of the year. This one was for skilled tradespeople and was, by all accounts, an enormous success with a total of 290 registrants. Candidates are now being invited for testing and interviews. I want to thank the talent acquisition professionals of the MTA People Department and Yvonne Hill-Donald, who's here from my staff, for making the arrangements and for keeping our roster filled with the best and the brightest. Teamwork makes the dream work. Chains are only as strong as their weakest link. You've heard these and other cliches, but they've lasted for a reason, and it's a spirit of collaboration and meeting all those challenges that has defined 2023 at Metro North, which is our 40th anniversary year, and yet another 12-month period that concludes with my feeling as proud as of this organization as I possibly could be. In spite of everything that Mother Nature threw at us in 2023, we're ending the year with more consistently high marks from customers and an OTP of over 97%. That does not just happen on its own. It's the result of top professionals at the top of their game doing great things day in and day out for the region that we serve. So at this meeting, I want to do a recap of some of what we experienced in 2023. A lot of it has to do with weather. On July 9th, parts of the Hudson Valley were treated to a month's worth of rain in just a few hours. Neil can attest to that, causing washouts, fallen trees, and high water conditions along our right-of-way and service suspensions on the Upper Harlem Line and the Hudson Line north of Croton-Harmon. The biblical summer deluge led to destruction that we haven't seen in our territory since Hurricane Ida. But our response crews were up to the challenge and restored our right-of-way for full service and kept customers informed throughout, with phone and electronic customer contacts totaling over 1,000 the following day alone. Less than 2 weeks later, on July 22nd, as a state DOT maintenance crew effected overnight repairs to the portion of the Bronx River Parkway that crosses over our tracks, a large steel girder buckled and separated from the main structure. This led to a partial suspension along the New Haven and Harlem lines in the Bronx and no Saturday Yankee Clipper service on those two lines. Thankfully, no one was injured, although the initial images from the incident were pretty startling. More problems from the sky accompanied the start of fall as the effects of the very slow-to-depart tropical storm Ophelia brought torrential rains and temporary suspensions on September 29th, due to flooding in and around Mott Haven and then up on the Harlem line. And then, as we'll all recall, on Saturday, October 21st, tiered retaining walls belonging to a private property in Briarcliff Manor gave way, causing the retained soil and other material to bury a portion of our right-of-way along the Hudson under several tons of earth, trees, and rock. Our amazing crews worked round the clock to restore service to 2 tracks closest to the river in time for the AM peak service on the following Monday. One of the 2 remaining tracks was placed back into service on November 3rd, and the track closest to the home returned on November 22nd. As this was going on, Metro North and C&D personnel teamed with our outside engineering firm and the homeowner's third-party engineering firm to improve the stability of the compromised slope prior to the restoration of service on the tracks immediately below. For a regional railroad, the combination of reliable, customer-friendly service is king. All of the aforementioned challenges had the potential to really affect service to a much greater degree, except for the steady and expert hands of our employees who really knocked it out of the park all year long. It's that flexibility and determination that allowed us to achieve our really impressive performance numbers in 2023. Other accomplishments, apart from the weather, were a pair of APTA Gold Awards in June, an APTA Innovation Award in October, and the story that really captivated the entire region of a 3-year-old little boy who thankfully will spend these holidays with his family after our Hudson Line heroes rescued him after he found his way onto live tracks on Good Friday, April 6th, near Tarrytown Station. To conclude, as we conclude our 40th anniversary year, I want to thank our customers for sticking with us more and more over the course of the year, and I want to thank our incredible employees for everything that they do every day to keep our customers safe. I want to thank the committee for your support and wish everybody a very, very happy holiday and a happy and healthy 2024. That concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Sure. Oh, okay. No problem. Thank you. Rob?
Okay. Good morning. Just bear with me. I can't seem to shake this tickle in my throat. Long Island Railroad ridership continues its steady growth, while November total ridership of about 5.8 million customers was down approximately 3.1% from October, which was expected due to the Thanksgiving holiday. However, it increased 22.3% to November of 22 and represented, 81% of November 2019 ridership. The very first time since the pandemic that the Long Island Railroad exceeded 80% of the same month versus 2019. Our non-commutation ridership remains robust. November was the 3rd consecutive month that non-commutation ridership surpassed the same month in 2019, this time exceeding it by a record 10.4%. And I know Tommy will go into the on-time performance, but just to briefly discuss it, we have to recall that on-time performance in November was affected by slippery rail conditions. Particularly, we were doing very well, but the week of Thanksgiving, we got hit pretty hard by a couple storms, so that affected the on-time performance. Otherwise, we're on a good trajectory to improve our on-time performance. As Christmas Day falls on a Monday this year, the Long Island Railroad will operate on a weekend schedule on December 25th. We'll also be on a weekend holiday schedule on both New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, with the addition of 12 extra evening westbound trains and 16 additional early morning eastbound trains to Long Island. I said eastbound, I think it's westbound for everyone heading home. We're also providing extra eastbound service from Elbont UBS after the Billy Joel New Year's Eve concert. Looking back on 2023, many would claim that it was arguably the most transformational year in a long, rich history. In a year filled with all kinds of firsts, both big and small, it's not hard to determine the defining event of the past 12 months, and that, of course, was the opening of Grand Central Madison. The story of Grand Central Madison could not be told without the Herculean efforts of so many participants, starting with the designers and engineers, ending with operation professionals, and all those in between, too numerous to mention, but appreciated beyond words. Grand Central Madison is truly an engineering feat that will provide benefits to our region for generations to come. Grand Central Madison received customers for the very first time on Wednesday, January 25th, when shuttle service kicked off with special guest Governor Kathy Hochul, who was a tremendous supporter of this project, and our chairman, Jano Lieber, among many other distinguished guests. This would mark the first extension of Long Island Railroad service since our initial train to Penn Station back in 1910. On February 27th, we introduced the new Long Island Railroad Service Plan, a revolutionary system-wide schedule that in one day added 271 trains for an astonishing 41% increase in service. And I just want to put it in perspective when we talk about a 41% increase in service. What does that mean in real terms? Well, that's almost 70,000 more trains than we operated last year, and about 49,000 more trains than we did in 2019. Staggering numbers. The service plan also increased overall reverse peak service by 56%. Grand Central Madison, in addition to other generational expansion projects such as Mainline Third Track and Ronkonkoma Double Track, enabled the delivery of such an expansive service plan. All these infrastructure projects have provided more options for our customers, thus enhancing the customer experience. They have also created built-in redundancies, making our system more nimble, efficient, and allows the railroad to recover from unforeseen service problems faster than ever before. The opening of Grand Central Madison has reduced the travel times for thousands of commuters. The schedules provide a 30% increase in Brooklyn service, half-hour service on the Ronkonkoma and Huntington branches, which makes intra-island travel much more convenient. All this offers untold benefits to local economies throughout Long Island. Grand Central Madison welcomed its 1 millionth customer in April, and ridership has steadily increased as the year has progressed. There is no doubt that the opening of Grand Central Madison is a major reason for this, as we have realized continuous post-pandemic ridership records since its opening. Throughout the year, we've been laser-focused on using real-time ridership data and customer feedback to make adjustments to our schedules. This information greatly assists us with providing schedules that most accurately reflect where our customers are actually going. Improvements were continuously implemented through a series of strategic and methodical adjustments to our service plan. This effort will continue as we progress to deliver the most customer-friendly service possible. Over the course of the year, we've decreased Brooklyn service intervals and provided more through trains for customers traveling to Brooklyn, especially from Southeast Queens. We have lengthened trains when both necessary and feasible and adjusted stop-in patterns on several branches to relieve trains most in need of it. Grand Central Madison has also made it a whole lot easier to travel in our region. With Grand Central Madison and Grand Central Terminal being located in the same building, traveling between upstate New York or Connecticut and Long Island is a whole lot simpler now. And with the introduction of our combo ticket, a lot cheaper as well. So whether you want to attend a subway series, go to the beach, or see the incredible fall colors, it's never been more convenient. The work to improve our overall service will always continue. In fact, on January 22nd, a new timetable will be implemented, and among the highlights is 2 p.m. eastbound through trains from Atlantic Terminal, 1 to Far Rockaway and 1 to Hempstead. We're also adding a new train from Hicksville to Grand Central Madison, making local stops in the AM peak. This train will help provide more available seating on approximately 3 or 4 other trains. In particular, the 6:57 a.m. train from Huntington to Grand Central Madison will now operate express from Syosset to Jamaica. I want to again thank each and every Long Island Railroad employee for their incredible performance this year. Their efforts have improved safety, reliability, and the customer experience. I am truly grateful for all that they do. There's a lot of good things happening at the Long Island Railroad, and the MTA is delivering for Long Island. In 2024, we will continue to build upon the successes of this year to further meet the needs of our customers. On behalf of the Long Island Railroad, we wish everyone a happy and peaceful holiday season. And that concludes my report, and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Rob? If not, we will move on to the next section of the agenda. Justin Vonishek will do a report on Metro North operations.
Good morning. The operations report begins on page 12. Our service delivered rate for November was 99.7%. System-wide OTP for November was 97.1%, above goal of 94%, and year-to-date OTP was above goal at 97.4%. The MDBF for the fleet was 302,000 miles in October, above goal of 175. Year-to-date MDBF also remains above goal at 336,000 miles. And this past Friday was the final day of operation for the laser train. Due to several hardware and GIS enhancements, along with the enhanced testing in the off-season, our system availability improved from 70 to 98%, contributing to our best slip slide season on record. We doubled the amount of tracks safely covered from 12,000 to 24,000 this year. In comparison, our typical season using water jets was less than 5,000 miles. So to quickly highlight some of the results from the season. It was our lowest wheel true cost on record. It was our lowest number of cars taken out of service for slip-slide events. It was our lowest number of slip-slide events per miles operated, which was a 66% reduction compared to the historical average. It was our lowest number of slip-slide delays per miles operated. This is a 70% reduction compared to the historical average. And our lowest number of slip-slide delay minutes per miles operated, which was a 74% reduction compared to the historical average. So this, combined with our low adhesion protocols, vegetation management, and overall management of the operation, helped ensure a successful slip-slide season with minimal impact to our customers. And just to quickly update on this morning's storm, so we are seeing delays on the New Haven and Harlem line, with some minor delays on the Hudson, and this is obviously because of the storms. We've had a number of high water conditions, trees in the wires, so we haven't had to cancel or combo any trains, but we are seeing 10 to 15-minute delays, which should be ending here shortly. We are seeing some residual delays, but we should have a normal rush hour this afternoon. So that's it, unless there's any comments, questions.
Thank you, Justin. Moving on to Tom Coast for a report on the Long Island Rail operations.
Good morning, everyone. Total on-time performance for the month of November was 93.6%, below goal of 94%, and year-to-date as of November is 93.9%, below goal of 94%. For the month of November, 4 branches operated at or above goal, and year-to-date as of November, 5 branches operated at or above goal. For major events which result in 10 or more late trains, there were 18 incidents for the month of November. The most significant event occurred on November 21st when system-wide low adhesion rail conditions caused excessive slipslide and a speed restriction being put in place. This event resulted in 131 delays, negatively impacting on-time performance by 0.5%. For our fleet performance, the MDBF for the month of October was 193,968 miles, above goal of 170,000 miles, and MDBF year-to-date as of October is 173,457 miles, above goal of 170,000 miles. For service delivery, we completed 99.6% of our trips for the month of November, and we completed 99.6% of our trips year-to-date. For upcoming work that will impact service, on the weekend of January 6th and 7th, contractors will be performing ADA work at Massapequa Station, resulting in schedule adjustments on the Babylon branch. On the weekends of January 13th and 14th, January 20th and 21st, and January 27th and 28th, switch installation in West Side Yard will take place, resulting in Far Rockaway branch trains being diverted to Grand Central Madison each of those weekends for approximately 48 hours. Please check the website and train time app for updated schedules. That concludes my report. I'll be happy to any kinds of questions you may have.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Brinkman.
Okay, Tom, I don't know whether this would go to you or Chief Mueller or Lori, but what is the response time if you get a report that there's a problem at a grade crossing? How quick does somebody get out there?
So from the Long Island Railroad side, our signal department would get out there very quickly. We notify our signal desk right away. They have locations at various spots around the island. Depending on how many other incidents they're working on, generally speaking, there's somebody there within 20 minutes. Obviously, if it's further out towards Montauk, it would take a little bit longer to get there, but generally speaking, right away from the Long Island Railroad side, and I'll let Chief Mueller answer on the PD side.
Okay.
No, it's much of the same. We keep very careful track. I can get those numbers to you if you'd like to see. They would be different between Metro North and Long Island Railroad, but the response times are pretty robust.
Okay. Now, the reason I bring this up was we had an unfortunate incident this morning from Mother Nature. Broke one of the grade crossing gates at the William Floyd Parkway in Mastic Shirley. That is an extremely busy roadway. So it was already called in by the time I was made aware of it, but when I saw that gate broken like that, and I was saying, my God, you know, and we run, at that hour of the morning, we run quite a few trains through there. So I was just wondering how quick, you know, you'd be able to get out to something. But 15 to 20 minutes that's a reasonable response
It could be
time.
sooner.
Okay.
It depends on where we are and where our other assets are deployed, but, you know, that would be a top priority for us if we had a broken gate like that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Jerry, I think you have to consider time of day, right? If it happens during a peak period, road traffic, you know, slows things down a little bit. And on a storm like today, they're responding to multiple incidents and things like that. So all that has to be considered. But under normal circumstances, relatively quick response.
If I might add, also, the community, local community, municipal police, if it was, they might be the very first people on the scene if people saw it. So they're another combat multiplier in that particular situation.
Mr. Mack has a comment.
Yeah. Probably the first responder would be Nassau County Police Department if it was called in, and then they would probably notify us.
Thank you. Moving on to our safety report, Shelley Prettyman will give the report for Metro North.
Good morning. Metro North Safety Report can be found on page 15 of the Performance Metrics book. And first, concerning customer and employee injury rates, this compares the rates for the current 12-month reporting period ending October 2023 to the rates for the prior 12 months ending October 2022. So the reportable customer injury rate decreased from 2.45 to 1.93 per 1 million customers, and the reportable employee lost time injury rate decreased from 2.21 to 1.95 per 200,000 working hours compared to the prior 12 months. So on December 11th, Metro North conducted our federally mandated annual emergency preparedness exercise in Norwalk, Connecticut. So this year, the exercise simulated technical rescue of a contractor injured inside the central pivot pier of the Norwalk River Railroad Bridge, or Walk Bridge. So the exercise objectives included familiarization of first responders with railroad infrastructure, evaluation of internal and external notification and communication procedures, and the interaction coordination among first responders during an emergency. So these exercises provide an important opportunity for stakeholders to get to know each other and practice our procedures outside response to an actual incident. So Metro North's Office of System Safety wants to thank all the stakeholders who supported the exercise, including the Norwalk Fire Department, Norwalk Police Department, Norwalk EMS, Connecticut DOT, Federal Railroad Administration, and Metro North's Transportation, Maintenance of Way, and Operations Training Departments. I also want to note that last week was Metro North's fourth quarter Safety Focus Week, and throughout the week, supervisors held interactive discussions with our employees across the territory to discuss key safety topics and hear their questions and concerns. That concludes my remarks, unless there are any questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. And now we move on to Lori with the Long Island Safety Report.
Good morning. So similarly, our safety report and our performance can be found on page 30, but what I would like to bring everyone's attention is on page 29. Again, our Floral Park emergency responder exercise drill as well. And in the spirit of the season, I would like to have some acknowledgments. As far as the drill itself, I want to thank the Corporate Safety Department, Chief Fire Marshal and Assistant Chief Fire Marshals Lee Sorensen and Dan Gallagher, as well as our partners in training, Greg James and Kenny Klein. Our deepest appreciation to the Floral Park Chief of Department, Brian Hammerman. I do want to point out on Long Island, there are 71 volunteer departments in Nassau and 109 in Suffolk County. We get countless calls during the course of the year, whether it's medical emergencies, trespasser events of grade crossings. Without those volunteers, we can't thank them enough, as well as our partners at MTA Police for providing that level of service within the communities that we serve. Also want to acknowledge FDNY Chief William Ventura, who's part of the Public Transportation Safety Unit and our LIRR liaison for FDNY-related events, and also Chief Tom McCarthy, who recently retired after 43 years of service at the FDNY. 21 of those included covering Penn Station Battalion 7. So again, we can, in the spirit of the season, thank all of those folks for the support that they provide us throughout the year.
Thank you, Lori, and certainly their support is extremely critical. If there are, yes, questions.
See, a special thanks to Chief Mueller for keeping good relationships with all the departments as well.
Mr. Brinkman.
Yeah, Lori, I'm just curious, how did your safety event in Penn Station go last week? I mean, I'm thrilled that you had it, but I'm just curious what kind of response you got from the riders, because usually they're like rushing to make trains. Did people stop by and take advantage?
Yes, and I would have to say Safety Sam was certainly instrumental in that engagement, as well as Acting President Rob Free was there to support as well. So we did have quite a bit of engagement and conversations, and was able to give out a lot of material and promote our tracks program as well. So we were very pleased with the event and the level of interaction. Thank you.
Do you have a question? No. Okay. Just wanted to confirm. We move on to the Chief's report. Chief Mueller.
Good morning, everyone. For the month of November 2023, we had 26 major felonies in our MTA property. Of those, 3 crime categories jumped out at us. There were 7 robberies, there were 8 assaults, and there were 9 grand larcenies. Of the grand larcenies, we continue to get plagued with unattended property. Of the 9, 7 of those were unattended. So we want to continue to encourage our ridership to really manage their property and keep an eye on everything. And that's my report.
Any questions for Chief Mueller? Yes.
Chief, I'd like to get a little update on what's happening with these protests that are happening at our 2 major locations in Manhattan, please. Could you just give us a sense of what we're doing, how we get advance notice, what we're doing to protect the public, how we're keeping the peace, and how we're respecting the right to protest while ensuring that the protests remain peaceful?
Yes, we work very closely with the NYPD Transit. Chief Kemper is a tremendous partner. You'll hear from him later today. Most of our intel comes from open source. When there's an organized protest, it'll be put on Facebook, Instagram, etc. We have plans for every single one every day, whether they're coming to one of our terminals or not. We are embedded with the NYPD in terms of their intel hubs, and that helps us a lot as far as being able to anticipate. The challenge, Mr. Zuckerman, to these protests is we're not told in advance in many cases where they're going and where they're starting. So we've taken on the position that we need to always assume that they may be coming to one of our major terminals or try to disrupt, our transportation. I couldn't say enough about Metro North Security, Long Island Security, President Rinaldi and President Free about helping us get messaging out to our customers. You are right. We do want to allow people to protest within their First Amendment rights, but we will not tolerate damage to property or anyone being hurt.
And how do you ensure that this is not something we're very familiar with on this board. This is not a typical topic we talk about. When we talk about safety, we talk about slips, trips, and falls. We don't talk about protests that get on the verge of violence. Could you just give us a sense of how you manage a crowd and ensure that it's observed and meticulously observed so it doesn't become more than what it should be?
Yeah, when we have a large protest that's planned, we'll have extra bodies there. We have people that you see, and we also have people that you don't see, and that also often gives us a good idea what the tenor of the crowd is. We've been fortunate so far where citywide we haven't seen tremendous damage to property or anybody hurt. There have been isolated pockets of vandalism. We're always mindful of that, and anything that happens on our property is not going to be tolerated.
Look, I appreciate the effort and the unique circumstance that your officers are dealing with, as Mr. Mack has done many times before in this meeting and other meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mack.
Usually, in my position in Nassau County as the first assistant police commissioner, the number of demonstrators, whoever they are, we want to ensure that no damage is done to our property or anyone else's property, and there's no substitute except for manpower and the presence of uniforms. Am I right, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Chief Mueller? Thank you, Chief. Moving on to Metro North action items. Kathy, can you walk us through the action items for the MNR?
Sure, of course. There are actually 3 Metro North action items this month. The first is authorization to accept a NISDOT CMAQ grant for connecting services. The second is an extension of our existing agreement with the City of Newburgh to partially reimburse the expenses associated with parking for the ferry services. And the third is an extension of the existing agreement that we have with the County of Westchester to support the longstanding employer-based shuttle agreement.
Thank you. This is just an informational because we cannot take a vote, correct?
Correct. It will have to be approved.
Perfect.
We don't have a quorum, so there's no vote taken here, but it will be voted upon since it's an action item at the full board.
Perfect. Thank you. And now we move on to information items.
Sure. So there are 4 information items. The first is the final proposed budget. The second is our proposed committee work plan for 2024. The third is the diversity and EEO report for third quarter 2023. And the fourth is for the committee, the review of the committee charter.
Any questions for Kathy? If not, we move on to Rob so that he can walk us through the informational items for Long Island Rail.
Okay, there's 5 information items for Long Island Railroad, the first being the 2024 final proposed budget, 2024 proposed committee work plan, the diversity report, the year-end service, the timetable changes, and the track work as well, and review of the committee charter.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions? Okay, we move on to agency finance reports. Kathy, please report on this month's finance reports.
So, as is the case every month, the agency finance reports are in the book. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer them, but typically we don't report on those at committee, and there is one procurement, and Richard Mack is here to present the procurement.
Good morning. The Long Island Railroad, on behalf of itself and its 2 sister operating agencies, presents 3 procurements this morning for the board's consideration and approval. The first one is for custom glass solutions for an amount of $10.2 million. The Long Island Railroad, as the lead agency on behalf of itself and Metro North Railroad and New York State Transit, requests board approval to award a 5-year non-competitive original equipment manufactured OEM estimated quantity purchase agreement in the amount of $10.2 million to the firm Custom Glass Solutions. This is a joint agency sole source contract which was publicly advertised for the purchase of various window assemblies that supports the Long Island Railroad, Metro North, and New York City Transit's passenger fleet. The second item is for Illuminator Technology for an amount of $2.2 million. The MTA Long Island Railroad, on behalf of itself and Metro North Commuter Railroad, requests board approval to award a 5-year non-competitive original equipment manufactured OEM estimated quantity purchase agreement in the amount of $2.2 million to the firm Illuminator Technology Group. This is a joint agency procurement sole source which was publicly advertised for the purchase of various lighting equipment that is required to support both Long Island Railroad and Metro North's commuter railroad fleet. The last item is for the firm United Safety and Survivability for an amount of $4.6 million. The Long Island Railroad, on behalf of itself and Metro North Commuter Railroad, requests board approval to award a 5-year non-competitive original equipment manufactured OEM estimated quantity purchase agreement in the amount of $4.6 million to the firm United Safety and Survivability Corp. This is a joint agency sole source contract which was publicly advertised for the purchase of various engineering seats for the cab car and cab engineering parts and equipment required to support the various fleets for both Long Island Railroad and Metro North Commuter Railroads. In all 3 of these procurements, the material list requirements and price lists were carefully reviewed to identify and remove any item that could be competitively sourced. That made up approximately about 10% of the initial items list. The contracts are important because they support each operating agency's planned and unplanned reliability maintenance programs to keep cars in service. In each instance, negotiated pricing was benchmarked to the most recent pricing or previous pricing, and on average, this resulted in an average weighted annual increase of about 6% to the previous purchased price. In most instances, the previous contract was negotiated in 2018. All three contracts have been negotiated with a 2-year fixed base price contract and subsequent years 3, 4, and 5 tied to a published PPI. On average, that has come out to be somewhere around 4 to 5%. Therefore, we have determined that the pricing is fair and reasonable. I submit these items for the board for your review and approval.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, Mr. Brinkman.
Yeah, I just have one question on the glazing contract. Was there any effort made to have the glazer upgrade the quality of the glass that we're using, in particular on the Long Island Railroad? Might even be a problem in Metro North, I'm not sure. In the past, the glass on the south side of any of our trains, over a matter of time, gets cloudy, to the point where you can barely see out it. You couldn't tell what station you were coming into if they didn't make an announcement. I know there's constantly improvements in technology, and I was wondering if that was factored into this at all.
I'm going to defer to Tom and Rob on that question as to the specifics of the actual product.
Okay.
On the M7 equipment, it's not true glass. It's I forget the exact name of the material, but it's not true glass. That's why we get that condition on the south side. And we've looked into trying to replace the windows, but it's an exorbitant cost. We've gone out and asked to see if there's anything they can do, buffing it out or any type of thing. So we're still trying to look and see what we can do with that material, but it's not true glass on the M7 equipment.
Okay, yeah, I know you had to have some sort of polymer or something so that it wouldn't break if someone threw a rock against it or something
It's
like that.
lighter as well. It helped the weight of the cars
Right,
as well.
right.
So.
Okay, just as long as someone's looking at it or trying to do something with it, because it's been a problem for years, and just hopefully with the new technology, someone can come up with something for our south side windows.
Thank you. Any other questions in the procurement? And these items will be voted on Wednesday's meeting. With that, I would like a motion, unless anybody has any other questions or comments. Okay, I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting? No motion. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.